there, Aries. Welcome to your mid-June 2023 General Tarot Update. It's Raina here. Okay. Interesting. The heart of the matter is the Ten of Cups. This is the happily ever after card. You see that they show a couple here. They have the sun. That this deck is not, I was going to say kosher with the Rider-Waite deck in terms of the imagery, but it does have its own way of what would you call communicating the meaning of this card, which can be about marriage and family harmony, some sort of situation that kind of completes a person emotionally. And the number 10 is the end of a cycle, but I think it's one of those numbers where it's the ending and the beginning, if you will. So perhaps some Aries people have come from a situation where maybe they didn't have the kind of relationship that they wanted. Aries people are very interesting because they are a fire sign, and that makes them very independent, wanting freedom, but they're also very romantic. And your sign is very like, take charge, but live in the moment, be spontaneous. So there's a lot of elements of kind of that young, fresh energy, like of a child or a young adult who is just kind of has that passion for life. After all, Aries is the first sign of the zodiac. So there's always this appealing quality with Aries that has to be, that has to do with being youthful and vibrant. And sometimes, if the person has a little bit too much shadow going on, and the shadow with Aries is not really how I would describe it, because you're pretty front and center. But if you have, some things that are challenging, that it can lead to immaturity sometimes. But in general, there's this really refreshing aura of an Aries person. So this might be something that feels very like it feels settled, but it doesn't feel boring. It feels like you are fulfilled by this. We also have the Nine of Cups, which is wish fulfillment. So that can be what somebody is hoping for. What crosses you is the Nine of Torches, which is the Nine of Wands. That's fire energy. You have two nines in this. The number 9 is a number of the spiritual, the humanitarian, the light worker. And when it's in wands, the person is really having to practice boundaries. And maybe that is kind of like what led to you having what you want in your personal life, is because you didn't just like tolerate everything. And, what I can think of in some cases is this could be the person who, maybe wanted to commit to someone who didn't want to commit to them. Maybe you were waiting for someone to settle down. Usually Aries is the person who is trying to sow their wild oats or just stay free. So it's always possible that you were the one that had to state what you wanted, and then that person decided to accept your offer. Who knows? I don't know. Obviously, there's going to be different scenarios. If you're an Aries person, maybe you have the moon in a water sign like Pisces or Cancer or Scorpio. You might be a lot more willing or desiring of a deep relationship, and so that you wouldn't be necessarily that patient if somebody's trying to play around or something like that. So I don't know, but the higher message is the Hierophant, and that's a card that is connected to um, Taurus. Actually, no, wait a minute. Yeah, it is, and actually, um, this is this can have like a spiritual connotation to it, but it's actually a marriage card. So we have cards here, the Ten of Cups and the Hierophant, that are connected to marriage. The Hierophant is a card of tradition. So for people who are, maybe they're kind of on the fence with that, whether they want to do something that is, you know, kind of conforming to what everyone else is doing or not, that might be the deal breaker. And sometimes it can be the type of belief system that the person has about what it means to, join forces with someone. And if there's that tendency to be very kind of rebellious, that it makes it harder for that person to want to commit. But it's interesting because it's really a concept at the end of the day. It's not, I mean, all of those other things are structures. And if somebody really wants to be with someone for the rest of their life, it's not necessary for them to do it in that way, but there might be some kind of a spiritual or religious belief that makes that person feel that that is the only way that they can feel the commitment coming from that other person. What crosses you is the Nine of Cups, and this is a card of, this is an interesting depiction, actually. She's wading in the water, but it's almost like, is she drowning? Is she, is there too much water? The water is the emotions, the element that's connected to emotions. And I was drawn to this deck because of the artistry. And this can be a card of self-indulgence sometimes, where it's like having too much of a good thing. And especially in this particular position, because we have it like, even though I probably picked it up right, I'm reading it like a reverse card. Sometimes with Aries, there's this excessive quality that can happen. Um, I would say with relationships, it can be especially like rushing things, trying to move things along too quickly instead of really stopping and getting to know someone. And this isn't necessarily, I'm just talking about the average person, not the person who's really trying to do something nefarious, like trick somebody into being in a relationship. I'm talking about just the enthusiasm. So the Nine of Cups can be an excess of emotion, but the Ten of Cups, I don't feel that is really that big of a deal. It's interesting. I think that a lot of you probably know that the cards are connected to astrological placements. Sometimes planets themselves, sometimes signs, or planets and signs. And the Nine of Cups, as I understand it, is Pisces or Jupiter in Pisces. So Jupiter is the ancient ruler of Pisces, and there is a connection that they have. So for somebody who is an Aries, this is, the 12th house. It can be even that sense of like, oh, or soulmates. There's a very romantic quality with Aries people that I think sometimes gets overlooked because of all of the aggression or what have you. So, very interesting. What's coming in? The Ten of Swords. This is, as I work with this deck more, and I confess that I have barely used it, but I really like this depiction of the Ten of Swords. So you see that I didn't even see this because everything seems so camouflaged. There's a person, just like in the Rider-Waite deck, they use like an animal that is stuck with all these swords. And in this case, they use a person, a woman or a girl, and that indicates betrayal, getting stabbed in the back, so to speak, figuratively. And then they show the same person floating above. So that can mean that the person has overcome that betrayal. It's not a card always just like you are going to have this happen or you're in the midst of it. Could be that it actually sometimes can be that the worst of that cycle is over with. Again, number 10, the end of a cycle. Just like you had the 10 of Cups, you have the 10 of Swords. So it's like resolving something. And in doing so, the person is transcending that issue. And so I would assume that was something in the past. And that's what the Nine of Wands is all about, is kind of setting those boundaries. Because maybe the person was too lenient or tolerant in the past and they got taken advantage of. I think especially with Aries, there is a generous spirit, and it can extend in all areas. It could be monetary, it could be the way that you give people a long leash. And if a person is not sincere, obviously they're not going to be, doing, giving back energetically to you. And it's just like kind of a siphoning, a taking. Ooh, there's something going on out there. I don't know. Whoa. Somebody is moving, so I just want to let you know that there's some noises out there. The outcome card is the Ace of Swords. So that is a card of really seeing things as they truly are. This is a card of like not being in denial, not being in this deluded state. I'm talking especially to you, Aries people who have Mercury in Pisces or Mercury in the third house. You may want to believe something is true, but it's not, and it is causing you to maybe make decisions that are based on lies or distortions of some sort. This is your path forward. Now, you had a solar eclipse, and actually you had two new moons in March and April. So Aries people, I would dare say, are quite activated, because there's something for everyone. If you were an early degree Aries, a late degree, you had that hitting you at least once. Maybe if you're smack dab in the middle, that was the only placement that didn't get really formed a conjunction with one of those new moons. So it's possible that there has been some kind of new developments in your life since then. And this kind of goes along with that, because the Ace can be new beginnings. But it's coming from the mind. The mind is seeing things or, perceiving life in a certain way that maybe you didn't before. And it could be specifically with relationships. I really get a strong feeling for that. Sorry if that is not relevant for some of you, but I usually try to make it more universal, but it really came through strongly with some of these cards. The key is to keep in mind that you are deserving of love and all the things that go along with it, like respect and respect of your boundaries. Not trying to, you give them an inch and they take a mile, not something like that. And when you have that clear vision, you're able to determine if somebody is, um, I was going to say bleeding you dry, but what I really mean is just if they are on the up and up, if they really mean what they say, if they're commitment worthy, all of that is coming clearer. All right, that's what I have for you, Aries. I hope that this resonated. If you would like a private reading, the link is below. Take care. Bye.